Hi, welcome to another video. This is Mr. Chow. Today's video will be covering the PSLE English Oral. So this component will be a combination of the reading exercise as well as the spoken interaction. So let's get started. Before we begin, students are welcome to join the video. This is a follow along lesson. Prepare some writing materials like foolscap paper or just some rough paper and a pen or pencil. Right, we'll be teaching reading and spoken interaction in this particular video, and we will end the video with some bonus tips as usual. Right, so let's proceed. Now the PSLE oral component is paper 4 is worth a total of 40 marks. That's 20% weightage, 1/5 for the entire subject. So that's quite substantial. So do not neglect this particular component. In my personal opinion, for those students who are well versed in English, this is an easier to score component because there are no writing involved. You just need to show that you are fluent in using the language. 15 marks goes to the reading passage, and then 25 marks will go to the spoken interaction where you have a photo stimulus. All right, so it'll give you a black and white photo and they'll base the conversation on that. Now the two parts are not thematically linked, meaning they could be separate topics altogether, separate themes altogether, okay? And the exam time is only a very short 10 minutes. Students get 5 minutes of preparation time and 5 minutes of examination time. Let's start with the reading passage. Now from experience, most students can handle the reading passage quite well, okay, or at least reasonably well. So try to read with fluency. That means you need to practice more to reduce hesitations, right? Now, hesitations here, okay, is your main enemy. Okay, this is the big boss that you need to kill, all right? And you cannot overcome this overnight. So your lack of reading will show when you read the passage and then you do not know where to pause, you're thinking of how to pronounce the next words. That shows your lack of practice and you will be marked down. So practice more, right? Pause when necessary. Comes to commas, short pause, full stops, slightly longer pause, new paragraphs, pause again, right? As well as connectors, right? So we are reading the sentences in clauses, right? Connector, you pause a little bit to breathe, okay, and then you pronounce or continue reading the rest of the sentence. Now this is particularly useful if you get a very long sentence, right? Don't keep reading and hold your breath until you get purple in the face and then you pass out. All right, that will not help you. Read audibly, which means loud enough with clear pronunciations, right? Some students are very soft-spoken, and when they talk, they are just used to whispering, no? Just a very soft whisper. I have to go like, huh? Right, that maybe because it's my age, okay? But if the examiner needs to go like, huh? Can you repeat? Right, then you're not speaking loud enough or audible enough. Now, one side effect of speaking too softly is that it can come across as lack of confidence, and you don't want that. You want to present yourself as a confident English speaker. All right, so practice, right? Just increase your volume a little bit, okay, be audible. And one common mistake is a lot of students forget to pronounce the end sounds like S, ED, K, etc. All right, a lot of time it's just due to lack of effort and students are just not conscious about it. So it's a very small mistake, so to speak, right, that students can overcome quite easily, right, as long as you make that extra little bit of effort. Use inflection, meaning a lot of students when they read in a very flat tone. Okay, so try to vary your tone and your pitch, right? For example, you're at a part of the passage where people are happy and excited, so you don't talk in a very flat way. All right, you actually increase your tone and increase your pitch just because you are excited. All right. At the end of the day, students should read as if the passage means something to them, all right? Meaning you read as if you have understood the passage. If you just read the words but you don't know what they mean, all right, and people cannot tell based on your tone, based on your pitch, okay, you will still pass, right, but you will not score very well, okay. Here are some examples, right, like want, T sound, desk, k, k, drank, k, K sound, kept, T sound, etc. All right, so just make that extra effort to pronounce. During preparation time, practice words with more syllabuses, right? Meaning words that are longer, right? Like immediately, consciousness, embarrassing, okay? So I think what is happening is that a lot of students tend to trip over the longer words. So when you're given the 5-minute prep time, just go and read a few more times so that you can read the entire sentence fluently without tripping up on the long words, right? For example, simultaneously, university, satisfactorily, responsibility, etc. Okay, so as you can see, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky just to pronounce some of the words you see on screen here. So just warm up under your breath. You don't have to shout, okay, because you're disturbing other students. Under your breath, just mouth the words softly, simultaneously a few times, all right, just to get used to it. Here are some commonly mispronounced words: debris, receipt, and asthma. So it's not debris, okay, the S is silent, right, and it's not asthma, right, the TH is silent, all right. So take note. Salmon, right, the L is silent, right. Honest, the H is silent. Mischievous, not mischievous, right. A lot of students think that there's an I here. This is not correct, okay. So the pronunciation is not mischievous, it's mischievous, right. The next word is choir, right, not choir, right, that's wrong, choir. All right, and then next we have genre. So this GE here is pronounced with the Z sound, genre, not genre is not correct, genre, okay. Cafe, fiance, all right. So the sound here is slightly different, do take note. Okay, finally we have pronunciation, right? The key here is this. A lot of us tend to make the mistake, we just pronounce a pronunciation. It's not pronunciation, it's pronunciation. All right, so this list itself is not comprehensive, okay. Just to give you some example of some of the commonly mispronounced words. So if you're well read, if you watch English shows, you wouldn't have this problem, okay. Or maybe you watch this video, all right. So it helps definitely to listen more so that you are clear about the pronunciations of certain words. Now here is a quick passage for practice, right? I'll demonstrate. The choir singer was usually honest and hardworking, but he could be quite mischievous when visiting his favorite local cafe. After finishing his meal of grilled salmon, he carefully checked his receipt to ensure the total was correct before tidying up some scattered debris on the table. I must maintain a professional pronunciation during my next performance, he whispered to his fiancée while discussing their favorite musical genre. He remained determined to hit every note perfectly, even when his breathing was occasionally heightened by asthma. Okay, so pause the video, try reading the passage for yourself and practice and see if you can read this paragraph fluently. All right. Okay, with that, we can move on to spoken interaction. All right, so look at the examiner while having a conversation. So this is actually an engagement in a conversation. Right, listen to the question carefully. Okay, so don't just give your own answer that is off track. Okay, if you're off point, you will be penalized. This is listening and speaking, not just speaking. Okay, Questions are usually short and easy to understand at the primary level. Focus on sharing personal experiences and or your own preferences, right? For example, what do you like or dislike? There's no need to apply a lot of critical thinking at a primary level, okay? But I think it's okay to expect primary school students to treat this like a bit of show and tell. Share and tell, in fact, right? Just share your personal experiences, what you like, what you dislike, etc. And you will notice a pattern across a lot of the questions that they include the pronoun you, all right, because they want you to talk about yourself. Okay, just take note of this. Be prepared to share. Now, a lot of some students are shy and say, I'm quite a private person, right? I don't like to share. Then I think you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So be prepared to share more about yourself. Important tactics: use sequencing, firstly, secondly, etc. The exam time is very short, so usually you are done by secondly, right? Firstly, you make a point, tell a story. Secondly, maybe give an example, share a story, and then you are done, right, for one question. Use adjectives right off the bat, right? A lot of students forget about the use of adjectives, and you can start just by saying something like, it is a very interesting challenge because, and then you start telling your story, okay? Elaborate each point first, at least 2 to 3 sentences with good words or phrases before you move on. So don't just go, firstly, I like chicken rice. Secondly, I like, I don't know, wonton dumpling noodles, all right? But you did not describe the dish. So firstly, chicken rice, describe the dish. Secondly, this is my second favorite, describe the dish. And then you can move on, all right? And when you're done, remember to give a signal, right? By saying something like, all, in conclusion, etc. Just to let the examiner know that you are done. Otherwise, you'll be sitting, just looking at the examiner very awkwardly, right? The examiner doesn't know. Are you thinking? Are you coming out with the next point? Unless you signal, all right? Okay, here are some sample questions, right? Theme 1, leisure activities and hobbies. Do you enjoy spending your free time outdoors or indoors? Some people believe that having a hobby is essential for a balanced life. What is your opinion on this? If you had the opportunity to learn a completely new skill or craft during the school holidays, what would it be and why? Many students today spend a whole lot of time on digital entertainment like gaming or social media. Do you think this is a good way to relax? So spend some time to read through the question. If you want, you can pause the video at any question and try to practice. All right, let's move on to the next theme. Community and kindness. Tell me about a time you helped someone in your neighborhood or school. Why do you think it is important for young people to contribute to their community? Some people feel that small acts of kindness, like holding a door open, are no longer common. How can we encourage more graciousness in our daily lives? If you were tasked to organize a charity event for your school, what kind of project would you choose to support those in need? Theme number 3, environment and sustainability. What are some ways you and your family practice recycling or energy conservation at home? Now remember, right, see the pronouns you, they're all over the place. Do you think schools are doing enough to teach students about protecting the environment? Why and why not? Some people argue that using reusable bags and bottles is too inconvenient. How would you convince someone that these small changes are worth the effort? If you could design a green day for your school, what activities would you include to make it both fun and educational? Next, theme number 4, personal growth and responsibility. Is it important for children to have chores or responsibilities at home? Tell me about a challenge you faced recently and how you overcame it. Many people believe that we learn more from our failures than from our successes. Do you agree with this statement? This is slightly too advanced, so maybe you can change that to, right, tell me about a time when you face a failure and how you deal with it, right? Something like that. How do you manage your time when you have many different tasks or CCAs to handle, right? This is about time management. What qualities do you think make a person a good leader or a reliable friend? All right. So a lot of open-ended questions, and let's move on to theme number 5. Technology and innovation. How has technology changed the way you learn or communicate with your friends? Some parents are concerned that children are becoming too dependent on smartphones and tablets. What are your thoughts on this? Right, remember schools just ban handphones. Maybe you can talk about that. If you could invent a new piece of technology to solve a common problem in your daily life, what would it be? Do you think that robots or artificial intelligence will eventually replace teachers in the classroom? Very interesting question. Alright, so with that, we have come to the bonus tips. So don't keep quiet even if you're nervous, right? You need to open your mouth and start talking. You may be nervous throughout the 5-10 minutes. That's fine. You will not be penalized for being nervous, but you will be penalized for keeping quiet. So don't ever keep quiet. Focus on engaging the examiner in a conversation. When people stop you, pause you, or ask a question, please be sensible, reply intelligently. Do not overthink on whether your answer is right or wrong. Just focus on sharing about you, about your personal experiences, and that's it. Okay, there's no right, no wrong. Try not to work yourself into a dead end by saying no to everything. Well, some students I work with like to say, right, what are your hobbies? I don't have any hobbies, right? What is your favorite sport? I don't do any sports. So if you keep saying no to everything, then it's a dead end and you don't know how to continue, all right? Think of it as a casual exercise so as to stay calm and just be yourself, just like practice, right? For example, you want to avoid robotic reading just because you're nervous, okay? So with that said, we have come to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.